Have you ever wondered why firefighters have big mustaches? Well, years ago, they grew big mustaches to use as filters whenever they were trying to breathe in smoky areas. Thankfully, today we have SCBAs. That's what we wear inside fires. My name is PJ Bradford, and I've been a firefighter for over 20 years. When I first started in the fire service, SCBA tanks were made of heavy steel, and the device itself was very basic compared to today's SCBAs. SCBA stands for Self-Contained Breathing Apparatus. It's defined by OSHA as an atmosphere supplying respirator for which the breathing air source is designed to be carried by the user. Firefighting historian Merritt Long tells us that the earliest record of an attempt at the production of a respirator type design dates all the way back to 1825. It was a mask made of asbestos and iron. A few other models were made during the 1800s. Some consisted of things like leather bags. Uh, some of them even had leather bags of water with sponges that acted as a filter to clean the air that the user breathed in. In the article, The History of Firefighting Personal Protective Equipment, Paul Hasenmeyer credits James Braidwood with inventing the first SCBA similar to this one in 1863. It was made of two rubber-lined canvas bags that were worn on the user's back, and they were filled with air. Different sized bags held different amount of air, which also allowed the user to stay in the fire longer. It had two hoses that they held in their mouth, and that's where they breathed the air through. Even though there's a lot of professions that use some sort of SCBA or respirator type device, structural firefighters are the ones that are normally associated with the use of an SCBA. It allows them to be able to breathe fresh air in smoke filled areas without any danger of breathing in the toxic smoke or the heat. Hazardous material technicians, just like firefighters, they wear them whenever they're in an IDLH atmosphere, which stands for immediate danger to life and health. This allows them to be able to breathe fresh air in areas that are filled with toxic things. Some people call it an oxygen tank, but it's not. This right here is an SCBA tank. It's filled with compressed breathing air, not oxygen. Even though it has oxygen in it, it's filled with the same air that we breathe every day, which is only 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and 1% of a whole list of other gases that we breathe every day. At the Gallatin Fire Department, we use an MSA G1 SCBA. There's a lot of different parts that make it up, and I'm going to show you a few of the main ones. First, you notice is this tank right here. It looks just like a scuba tank. It's filled with compressed air. There's a few different sizes, but the one that we use is a 4,500 psi 45-minute bottle. We keep these on all of our fire engines, and this is what our firefighters use. We also have a 60-minute bottle that's kept on our heavy rescue. It's a little bit bigger, but basically the same thing. They're made of a carbon fiber material that makes them lighter than the old bottles of a long time ago that were steel and heavy. This right here is the face piece. This is what we wear over our face, and we hook the regulator to it, and this is how we breathe whenever we're in a smoke-filled area. It's got an adjustable straps to fit people of different size heads, different size faces. Next, we have the actual frame. This is where everything is hooked to. It's where the bottle is held by, and this is what we wear on our back. Down here, we have the first stage regulator. This is the air that comes out of the gauge into here. It comes out at 4,500 psi, and it actually lowers it down to between 80 and 100 psi. Next, we have the second stage regulator, which is right here, and this is what actually hooks to the face mask. This lowers it to just above atmospheric pressure. That makes it to where a human being is actually able to breathe it. There's also an emergency bypass valve, so if you ever find yourself not being able to breathe the air, you can turn this on and it bypasses everything and gives you a constant flow of air to be able to breathe. Next, we have the ICM, which is the integrated control module. You've got a digital and an analog gauge on here to tell us how much air is inside this tank. It's also got a PASS device, which stands for Personal Alert Safety System. Whenever a firefighter's in trouble, they can activate this manually, or if they don't move after a certain amount of time, it activates itself. This will set off an alarm to where other rescuers will know that you're in trouble and they can find you just by following the sound. In conclusion, the invention of the SCBA has made fighting fire and rescuing individuals safer. However, it's still a dangerous job and it requires regular training on the operation and the use of an SCBA. Firefighters of the old days, they had it tough. I, for one, am very thankful that these are around and that they're as advanced and as safe as they are. Thank you.